Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I hope you're doing well. I did a poll the other day on my YouTube channel. There's a tab, if you're on my main page, there's a tab that says Community. I post things there from time to time, and I posted a poll. This is the poll. I asked a few questions about what kind of things did you want to get some assistance with, because I love making videos, but honestly, I sit here in the dark and make up what I think you may want to learn about. So instead, I thought I would ask you what you want to learn about. 100 and something people replied, which is a great sample size. Thank you very much if you did. And if you can see, if you look here, you can see some of the options I threw out were masking, controlling the light, managing color, and then something else, right? And there were a number of comments around the something else category. But if you look at the three that I listed, masking, controlling the light, and managing color, those were almost evenly split. And so I'm going to go in this video and work on all three of those in a photo, talk about what I'm doing and why, and share with you some thoughts and ideas about doing things like masking and controlling the light and managing color across an image. And this is the image. And you may be surprised at some of these tools and the things either that you can do or the kind of impact that they have. We're going to be walking through that. Now, I'm starting with Develop Raw, right? Because I've already done that before I got here. So there it is before, and there it is now. If you take a look, pretty basic stuff. I always start with Develop Raw. It is a raw file. I always shoot raw. I always start with Develop Raw. And so I've got contrast, highlight, shadows. I made it a little bit cooler, tiny bit of tint, a little bit of vibrance, and a little bit of sharpening. Not a big deal, but a little bit to get started. So again, before and after, lots to do. And for me, second tool in my editing flow is Super Contrast. And that's because it's really great at helping you adjust the light. And light being one of the things that you guys talked about wanting to control, I think this is the best tool to use after Develop Raw for doing exactly that. So I come in and I usually do like 25 to 30, something like that. And then I just start playing around and look at that. Look at that, those highlights. I mean, just it's masterful. And look at that, what it's doing to the water, which this is the mid-tone slider. It's mostly impacting the water. Shadows, you can see those are going to get darker or lighter. I'm going to leave that one alone, put that back to 0 balance, and I might even pull the contrast. Maybe just put the contrast at 0 for shadows. But if you look at the midtones and highlights, able to separate those based on these sliders. And if you look at the before and the after, especially in those highlights in the sky, really controlling the light. So that's a great tool, and that's why I always use it second. Now, here's another tool that I really like to use for adjusting the light, and that's Accent AI. And if you start dragging this thing, you get really a huge impact across a photo. It's not always the impact you want, though, and I don't recommend going really high unless you do what I'm about to do, which is instead of just applying it peanut butter spread just across the entire photo, you come in with masking and you get a luminosity mask. And one of the things I like to do here is isolate midtones with a Accent AI and with a luminosity mask, find those mid-tone areas, and then I start separating them and blending the edit into their other zones. And so as you can see, what I'm doing is impacting all the midtones, but also fading it into the shadows and the highlights. So you get a lot more gentle and kind of just a nice fade, a nice transition, a nice gradient, if you will, on Accent AI. And now the before and after, it's not as over the top, even though I'm at 58. But more importantly, if you look at the lighting, again, before and after, I've taken nice control over the lighting, and I think made some nice progress on that, especially visible in the sky. And that's a place where, if you remember the base photo, the sky looked like it was kind of blown out, but the beauty of a raw file, a lot more ability to kind of push those pixels around. And so far, I've been able to do that pretty well. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is go in, and this is just a favorite move of mine. I'm going to go into Structure AI. I'm going to go negative in the sky, and I'm going to use Object Select because I find that it's quicker than the regular sky mask. So just boom, there it is. I've grabbed it. And I'm done, right? So I'm just softening up the sky a little bit just because it's personal preference. And now that I'm completed that, I'm going to go into Structure AI. I'm going to go into Object Select again. And this time I want to add positive structure, and I want to get these buildings, and I'm going to get some of this bridge and all that. So there we go. There's a couple little spots, but you're honestly not going to be able to see whether that's been impacted or not. And what I want to do is move this up, and This goes back to not just masking, but also controlling the light, because if you look at the before and the after, adding that structure AI, positive structure AI, impacts the light. You can see that those buildings are now brighter before and after. So keep that in mind. Structure AI, adding it to things like architecture is a great move for me. Personally, I love it in cityscape shots like this one. But don't forget, it's going to brighten things. So it's another tool you can use to control the light if you're using it, for the purpose it's actually designed for, which is to add structure. Now, having done that, I want to jump into one of my favorite tools that I don't get to use a lot, but I love to use on an image like this, and it's called Blur, and it's down here in these creative tools. I'm going to get a mask. Masks are all about control. I'm going to get a linear gradient, and I'm going to drag it to about right there, if I can get it straight. So something about like that, and what I want to do is get a motion blur, and I just want to make that look like a long exposure. I absolutely love to do that with photos like this, where the water was kind of choppy, because this was admittedly a snapshot, a split second. I don't even know. We could go look, but it doesn't matter. It's obvious that it was a pretty quick exposure, but now it looks like a beautiful long exposure. And maybe that's a little too much. Season to taste. You can do whatever you like, of course, with your own photos. The point is, it gives you the ability to control that really quickly, and that's the importance of masking in terms of getting control over your photo. Also notice, because it's impacting that reflection, it makes for a little bit different distribution of light. It doesn't look as dark to me overall. So again, before and after, it's smoother, and I like it a little higher. So hey, it's my photo, I'm gonna do what I want. But it makes the light look a little bit different. So even though I'm using a blur tool, I still feel like it's having a little bit of impact on the light, something to think about. And so far, we've gone from there to there. We're not done, because the next thing we're gonna do is go into color, and one of my favorite tools, which is color harmony. Now, one of those things in the poll was, hey, I want to make sure I can control color. And color harmony is a fantastic tool for color. I love it. I adore it. There's 4 different sections here. They're all fantastic. But color also impacts light. And so we're going to talk about that here a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of warmth overall to the photo, because it is a sunset, and I want to kind of lean into that. So I'm going to go into this split color warmth section as well and kind of add to that. So if you look at the before and the after, notice those brighter parts that is really in the sky getting a little bit more golden, a little bit more sunset looking, and it also slightly changes the look of that light. So again, before and after, right? It's obviously richer and warmer, but to me, it looks a little bit more balanced, for maybe that's the word. So before and after, I like that. Maybe it's a little bit too much. I'll pull that down a tad, because I'm going to do something else now, which is go into color balance, and I'm going to go into the midtones, and here I'm going to do like maybe a 5, something like that. Not a lot, just a little bit of red, and then also go into the highlights, and I'm going to do a little bit more, maybe like a 15, something like that, getting a little bit more of that kind of burn in the sky. But if you look at the before and after, and this is especially noticeable in the sky, before and after, right? Before and after. Also, do you notice there's little sections here where there's some light shining on this building? And if you look at the before and after, because I warmed up the warm tones with these sliders, those areas are getting a little bit warmer and therefore a little bit brighter. So it's also impacting the light there. May not necessarily be what you want in this photo, so you could go mask this in just to the sky and water. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave it, but I wanted to point that out. Pay attention to where your tools like color harmony are being applied. And in this case, I'm not masking it. I don't often mask color harmony simply because I'm usually setting the overall kind of color mood with the photo by using these tools, but you can mask it, and sometimes you might need to. So before and after, I think that's looking really good. And while I'm on color, I'm going to go into toning, one of my favorites. And highlights, I'm going to go into the red. I'm just going to lean into this kind of sunset look. I'm going to do something about like that. And in shadows, I'm going to do about the opposite, which is actually to get it kind of into the blues. And for me, that's just a play that I like to do, where I'm kind of creating, kind of amplifying is a better word, kind of amplifying the tension, if you will, between the brighter warm colors and the darker cooler colors. So I added more cool to the dark colors, shadows, got more blue, and I added more warmth to the brighter colors. So the highlights got more yellow, red kind of warmth, right? So I'm just kind of highlighting that color difference, accentuating those color differences, because This goes back to the whole, one of the things in that poll is about controlling color. Something I think about, kind of the yellows and the blues, they're opposite sides of the color wheel and the color spectrum, and which means they're complementary. So I'm enhancing and kind of accentuating that difference to create a little bit of that visual tension, but it's also, even though it's tension, maybe tension is not the right word, but they're complementary. So those color, that color feel goes good together. Those two colors go together well, I should say. My English apparently is not very good. You know, me talk pretty one day. But here we go. Look at the before and the after. It's kind of subtle, before and after, but it's added a little bit more blue and a little bit more of that warmth. I really like it. Now, another tool that I really like to use is Mystical, and I love Mystical. In fact, I love to do that, but I don't always like everything that it does to the entire photo. So if you look at the before and the after, it creates a contrast, which is light. So it's a mystical, which adds some shadow and some contrast. But remember, shadow, contrast, it's kind of making the highlights a little bit brighter, right? Before and after. That's changing the light. So even though it's mystical, it's impacting the light. In this case, I don't want it to go into the sky. So I'm going to go into Object Select, and I'm going to grab that sky. There it is. Grab that sky. And then I'm going to back out of that, and I'm going to go to Mask, and I'm going to invert. And now if I show you, I've got everything but the sky. And now it needs to be cleaned up around the edges. I'm not doing that sort of stuff in this video, but you can use a brush with an erase to go around that. I recommend zooming in, taking your time if you feel like you need to be really precise. But honestly, in a photo like this, with those edges and considering how the sky looks kind of behind the building, I don't think it makes a big difference here. So the point was, I didn't really like what it did in the sky, but I do like what it does in the foreground. So before and after. Now, as you can tell from the sun setting, it's behind this building being the Houses of Parliament. And of course, Big Ben is the clock, and Queen Elizabeth Tower, I believe it's called. But bottom line is the sun's over there. And so this put the foreground and the river in a little bit more shadow, but I didn't put it in the sky because I didn't want that increase in exposure in the sky. So again, Mystical masked into just 2/3 of the photo and not the top third, still impacts the light before and after. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is jump into Color Tool, and you might think, hey, we did color earlier, and we did, but I'm going to go into HSL because HSL is an incredibly powerful tool, and I love to use it, and it can do some really nice things for you, including impacting the light, believe it or not. So I'm going to go in here, and what I want to do with the saturation is actually take the blue saturation a little bit higher, right? I don't want to go too high and overdo it, but I want to amp that up a little bit and kind of lean into that. But the bigger, more important move is going into luminance, and I want to take this orange slightly down, and that's going to impact mostly the buildings, right? I'm not going that low. I'm going to go like a -10. I'm going to bring that down, but it impacts some of that, those kind of bright spots in the building. But also, I'm going to take the luminance of the blue down, and that has a huge impact on the overall look of the light because this is the luminance or the brightness value of the blue color. So I'm making it darker, which is changing the overall look of the photo, specifically the light in the photo, and even more specifically, the light in the photo in the areas where the blue resides, right? Because that's what I'm doing. So if you look at the before and the after, you can see pretty big impact before and after. So even though I'm in a color tool, in fact, the color tool, and using HSL, I'm still impacting light. Now, having done that, there's one more thing I really want to do, and that is this clock face is way too dark. And if you look at the original, it's a little bit brighter, and now it's way too dark. Easy way to fix that, and that is to go into Develop and get a radial mask. So radial gradient, we're going to start right here, and we're going to just drag this mask and something like that. You got to get it in the right place. Maybe something like that. I recommend kind of playing with things like this, of course. Experiment, make sure you get it the right size. But I want to brighten that exposure. See how I'm bringing that back to life? And go into color and give it a little bit of warmth as well. Just a little bit. I don't want to overdo it. And my mask is a little bit sloppy. Again, as I said earlier, zoom in, take your time. I don't do that in a lot of my videos, but in my real edits, I do. So I'm going to go maybe like a 1.5. So, a stop and a half, if you will, to brighten that up. But if you look at the before and the after, that really helps. Now, if you were feeling super industrious, you could go do the same thing for this one over here. I'm not doing that in this video, but you could just compress the radial mask, slide it in over there, and do the same thing. It's very quick and easy. But if you look back at the poll that we talked about, Need help with masking? We've done that. Need tips and tricks for controlling the light? Definitely did that. And managing color, tips, tools, tricks, things like that. We also did that. So I've done all three of those things in one photo, giving you some ideas, some thoughts, some insights about what you can do to really control your image around the idea of light and color. And of course, all of that control goes back to masking. Now I'll come back and do individual videos about some of these things, but I wanted to do a full edit showing the power and the range of what you can do with these tools in Luminar Neo, because you can start with a photo that's essentially a snapshot and maybe a throwaway and turn it into something that looks a bit better, a little bit more presentable, frankly, a lot of fun to make. So if you enjoy this kind of stuff, I can help you in two ways. First way, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. I'm back here every week making videos and sharing tips and tricks like this. And the second one, if you're interested in learning more about Luminar Neo, I have a free 27-page ebook on my website, which you can get down below just by joining my newsletter. If you want to check those out, check it out. And if not, hey, cool, I'm still going to be here making videos and having fun. Hope you found something useful in this video. One more time, before and after. That's how it went today, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I'll be back soon with another video. And until next time, you guys take care and adios.